Hey, Atlanta United folks, it is Scarves and Spikes back as a little bit of a Patreon mostly episode. We're going to be talking about the first couple of hours, the 2 days, 48 hours of the summer transfer window. It's been busy, and I see Tommy over here throwing up the thumbs down. Uh, it's going to be crazy. We already knew this, maybe a little crazier than we thought. But again, Tyler Pilgrim here alongside Sydney Hunt, Tommy Moose, and we're going to give you guys our thoughts. So we're going to dive right into it. That being said, the big one, unfortunately, news right now is Franco Ibarra and his unexpected loan. So Tommy, what are you feeling? What do you feel about this entire process and the way that it went down?
On Wednesday, I said I was going to fly down to Atlanta if they got rid of Ibarra. I asked the wife if I could buy a plane ticket and just protest, and she wouldn't let me. It sucks. We knew that this situation was going to be bad, right? Because it's just been so many mistakes with the U22 spot. They had to get compliant by Saturday for the game, but we all just thought it was going to be Sosa. And some of these answers that we've heard from Carlos Bocanegra yesterday are just blowing my mind. Like, we prefer Sosa. What does that even mean? Like, the guy doesn't play. He's hurt all the time. Ibarra has been one of our best players, and we mutually, when they talk about the Mosquera loan that ended, they mutually ended it. Get out of here. I don't believe a word of any of that.
Yeah, I guess I figured it would be Sosa as well. I mean, Tommy kind of hinted at his injury history. That's the fact that he doesn't really play for Atlanta United, so I figured that that would be the easiest move. But I feel like it was just mismanagement on Atlanta United's part to bring on four U22s in the first place. I feel like if they didn't, they wouldn't have had to do this in the first place, and they've had to do all this finagling, all this stuff that it's just messy, just a mess. And then Ibarra just leaving on really bad terms. And he posted Instagram kind of a goodbye saying, I went to stay, Atlanta saw it differently, just paraphrasing. And then Joseph dropped in, his comment. And I'm not going to repeat it for the family crowd, but I mean, we'll show it and you can see it. And yeah, Joseph making his feelings known about the Atlanta United front office, but just a messy situation. Just thinking about it earlier, this feels like a soap opera with Atlanta United. This whole thing with Joseph last year, Ibarra now, and then just other examples of really how the club is treating players. And yeah, it's just a lot going on, to say the least. And geez,
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully things can get better for this club, but just a mess of the last 48 hours, 24 hours, for Ibarra's part, that is.
Yeah. You know, I actually don't like this word because it's a made up word and I don't use it very often. I can count on one hand the amount of times I've ever used this word. But the way that this whole thing went down, and it's not just what happened yesterday, it's the whole thing going back years, but it is shambolic, 100%.
That's
It's
not a real
embarrassing.
word.
I don't think so. It might be. It
I
doesn't
think it
seem
Sorry.
like
is,
a word.
but
Okay,
I think it's made
continue.
up.
You talk, I'll Google.
If it gets used enough, maybe Webster's will put it in there. I don't know. We'll see. But yes, shambolic. I just think, you've essentially dug yourself a hole if you're the front office. Now, understanding the fact that like Lagerway, he inherited a bit of a dumpster fire with certain contract situations and everything else. So, like, Lagerway, I think, is legitimately trying to build the ladder to get out of this hole. And right now, all the blame is going to be pointed towards Bocanegra, whether, we're looking at it from face value and what the fans are seeing, or whether some of this happened when Darren Eales was still here. I don't know. But at the end of the day, Bocanegra is the one that's here, and he's been the only constant through this entire time. So you never want to put yourself in a position because you're gambling and you're playing with fire when you're essentially outstretching what you're allowed to do with your roster situation. You have 4 U22s, you're only allowed to have 3. So yeah, you're essentially your bluff got called and you had to find something to do. I think it's ridiculous that either A, they think Sosa is the better option, or B, they couldn't find a market for Sosa. I don't think either one of those are true, but whatever. It isn't my decision. At the end of the day, Franco Ibarra clearly got screwed. He's clearly unhappy about it. Again, Joseph Martinez, I mean, he's throwing his 2 cents in there. Those are different situations, but at the same time, it all goes back to the similar circumstance of some players just not being treated well, and it's upsetting for the player. It's upsetting for his development. You got to hope that he would go up there and do well with Toronto and somehow make it back here and be able to re-implement. But I just don't see that happening. He's clearly pissed and he has a right to be pissed. And they've got to figure this out. They have to get done with this episode of Atlanta United, like you were saying, Sydney soap opera, and move on and get some credibility back to the Atlanta United front office.
Yeah, you guys know I'm not a Fire Boca person, but I mean, you can see really just the decision making that the decision making that he's made, and maybe in some respects, Darren Eales. I feel like Darren is maybe treated as a little bit of a sacred cow in some respects, but I mean, he oversaw most of this, and for all the goodwill he built up among the fan base during his tenure here, maybe the shine is off, and we're seeing that perhaps from an administrative standpoint, he wasn't really as good as people thought he was. So, and not to lay it all at Darren's feet, but Carlos Bocanegra is certainly the face of this technical staff at this current point in time, and yeah, a lot of damage done, for lack of a better term, during his tenure over the past year or two, maybe a little bit beyond. So, yeah, not really on the Fire Boca bandwagon, but my gosh, he's just lost a lot of goodwill among the fan base over these past day or so.
We're going to continue talking about it, guys. There's a lot to talk about the first 48 hours of this window for Atlanta. And some of this is going to tie into Rodolfo Pizarro's comments down in Miami and other moves that are being made throughout the league already. We're going to tie all that together, put a bow on it. We're actually going to do that over on Patreon. So if you guys haven't joined the Patreon yet, head on over patreon.com/scarves and spikes. And we're going to have an entire discussion about this for some of our Patreon members. So we appreciate you guys coming over, bringing the supporting us here on YouTube, but also over on Patreon. We're trying to bring you guys really good content, and we can't do it without you guys.
Join our Discord.
Yes, we
have and watch this and pay for this video because I'm gonna yell a lot.
Yes,
pay for Tommy's plane ticket down here.
Yeah, all Patreon supporters get access to our Discord server. So yeah, patreon.com/scarves and spikes. The link will be down in the comments below. And yeah, thank you for those who probably are supporting us already, but we would love your help. Really does help us out a lot. So
100%.